Welcome guys, in this video we will learn how to call multiple asynchronous tasks parallelly or concurrently. This is very important interview question which I have faced. So as you can see, this is a dummy or fake API. We will use this API as your asynchronous task. You can append the to-do ID of this API so that you can get the object of that to-do ID. You can append it like this. So this is my parallel call component. It has a personal or local state data and set data. This is a function concurrent call which we are supposed to complete. I'm calling this within the use effect. So let's complete this function quickly. So as we know how to call multiple asynchronous tasks parallelly or concurrently using Promise.all. So before I move ahead, let's understand few things about the Promise.all, what it does. Let's hold the result of that Promise.all. So let's talk about this Promise.all. So generally it takes input as array of the promises. We pass the promises with comma separated like this, and it returns another promise. So we need to await for that promise generally. So for that await we need async function. So it takes promises as input within the array and it returns another array as a result. So result is going to be your another array. It will hold the result of all the fulfilled or rejected promises within this result variable. So if any of the promises within this array rejected, your Promise.all will reject immediately. If all the promises are fulfilled, you will get the result here. So here what you have to do, we need to supply the list of the promises here, but our URL works when we append the indexes or when we append the ID generally to do ID. So within the Promise.all, what we can do, we can create an array of size n, any size you can provide. So what we can do, there is a built-in function Promise.from that will help us to create an array of length of any size. You can put any size, let's say 5 for first, and here you can just simply iterate using map, and that map generally returns an array, right? And our Promise.all also require an array, so your map will also return another array. So what it takes two parameters. First, your item within this array which you are creating here, so it is undefined here. We are not providing any item here. We have just index, so we just need index only. We don't need the item from that given array. So here what you can do, you can return a fetch. Within that fetch you can use URL, and plus you can add your index, because our index starts with 0 but our to do ID require 1. We don't have any to do ID with 0 or something, so that's why we need to add 1 in the index as well. So here we will handle using the then. Our then will get the response and we need to return a promise here as well. So JSON method returns promise itself, and the catch also will return another promise here if it rejects, right? So in both the cases, either it is fulfilled, it will return the promise. If it is rejected, it will also return an empty or a promise generally. So this is all. We are done with the coding here. Also we can just console this one here out of this Promise.all scope. So what we can do is console.info, use info to show more informative information. Let's say result, we can put the result. Now we are all done with the implementation of Promise.all. We can also update our local state set data. Let's put it here, result. Let's fix this linters problems, fix all the problems using all possible auto fixable. Now we are all done. Now let's check out the output first, whether we are getting. Let's remove everything. Now refresh this. We should get the response. Yeah, we got the response immediately. As you saw, it is giving the result concurrently. So we can also see the result in the emulator as well. Let's check it out here. Yeah, we got it. So this is the best approach to fetch the data when the APIs are independent to each other. When you are landing on a screen, you are calling multiple APIs. So that is the best way to fetch multiple independent APIs immediately. So let's understand few things about the promises here. We can use Promise.any in some scenarios where, let's say there are n promises within this array of this Promise.any. So if any of the promises fulfilled, your promise will be resolved. You will get the response or the result of that any of this, you will get the single API response. If any of the promises fulfilled, it will immediately return that response of, you can check it now. Let's remove it now, refresh it. So as you can see, we got the response of the first API only, right? As you can see, result we are getting only this. So if any of the promises fulfilled, it will immediately return that. You will get the result here. Let's say here is, and also one thing, if all the promises within the array of this promise.any are rejected, if all the promises are rejected, in that case only your promise result will be rejected. If any of the promises is fulfilled, you will get the result immediately. It will be fulfilled state or settled. So let's say make it race. So there is one more method, promise.race. Let's talk about this. So what is race? What it does, any of the promises, whether it is fulfilled or rejected, at first it will settle that promise immediately. Doesn't matter it is fulfilled or rejected in the list of the promises in the given array. Again, your result will be settled immediately. Any of the first promise reject or fulfill, you will get the settled result immediately. It will not run all the promises. So let's check it out here. Now run it once again. Now run it also. You will get, yeah. So what your first API is user ID 1 settled immediately or fulfilled. So you will get that response. If it rejects, you will get that response only the first one. So this is the race, generally promise.race. So I hope you guys understood Promise.all, Promise.any, Promise.race. So these are the methods where you can use parallel executions of multiple asynchronous tasks with. So that was the simplest example using an API. If you like the video, you can subscribe my channel.